results just out here hitting the wire, and the company beating estimates. Not a surprise here. Third quarter data center revenue at $30.8 billion, above the $29.1 billion that analysts had been anticipating. Overall revenue, $35.1 billion, 33.25 is what analysts have been looking for. Gaming revenue at $3.3 billion, a little bit better than estimated. That was a kind of volatile area in recent quarters. Adjusted earnings per share in the third quarter, 81 cents versus the 74 cents that analysts had been anticipating, and gross margin coming in at 75 cents, in line with estimates here. And we see the shares falling in the wake of this. Now, there were a lot of questions about whether, there was not really a question of whether or not the company would beat. Everybody seemed convinced that Nvidia was going to come out and beat estimates. But the question is, what were people actually expecting versus the sort of consensus? By how much would they need to beat? And it seems like also that the fourth quarter revenue forecast is not a blowout, but that's what we've seen as of late. So not a shock here that we are seeing the stock fall to some extent. We've got some commentary from Jensen Huang, the CEO, that is coming in the statement too, Josh. He talks about the age of AI being in full swing, that networking demand is strong and growing. And he says Blackwell production shipments will begin in the fourth quarter of this fiscal year. Yeah, and so initially data, of course, as always, Rob, expectations also, Julie, running into this print were red hot. It was up about 190% year to date. I do think those comments, though, about Blackwell, that to me is going to be the core issue. What do they say about Blackwell? Not only this release, but it'll be the focus point of the call with Jensen Huang. The tone he uses, what does he see ahead? Because I think that's just sort of core here to whether you think the growth story can continue for this company. Yes, most definitely. Now, again, just to be clear about what I'm saying about the calendar here, they're currently in their fiscal fourth quarter of 2025. So they're saying Blackwell chips are going to begin in this quarter here. So then they said they're going to be shipping both Hopper and Blackwell in this fourth quarter. There's been a lot of talk in recent quarters. Were they going to see a pullback in orders of Hopper, their last chip, as clients were anticipating an allocation of Blackwell that was expected to have an effect last quarter? It didn't seem to, so we'll be waiting for more commentary on that. He is saying that Hopper and Blackwell systems do have some supply constraints, which is not a shock. That's something that's been sort of percolating and talked about in the market. By the way, as these comments are coming out, you basically battled right back to the flat line. I mean, you dipped about 6% in the comments coming, so we're kind of still shaking out here. Full comments from Jensen Huang are, the age of AI is in full steam, propelling a global shift to Nvidia computing. He goes on to say demand for Hopper and anticipation for Blackwell in full production are incredible, in his words, as foundation model makers scale pre-training, post-training, and inference. And you see now we're down just about less than 1%. Yeah, and there's probably going to be more volatility as well once we start the call, for sure, and once he takes some questions about what is going on from here. We've also been talking about, at some point, is there going to be more competition here, either from companies that are making their own chips in-house or contracting out that manufacturing for custom chips. And so that's been the talk really ever since early last year, when we really started to see NVIDIA's numbers explode upward. Was there going to be competition? What was it going to look like? Yeah, the problem is, for the competitors, Julie, you look what Jensen Huang has really built there. We've had analysts come on and of course run through this, but he's built out the software, he's built out the hardware, he's built out the networking. It is this platform that is just very difficult to compete with. I do think one interesting question, we're going to get analyst commentary, is, listen, you've had the big cloud giants spend. And even bulls they'll say, listen, even 12 months out or 18 months out, it's going to continue. One question is, what does happen after that? Who picks up the demand that? Is it applications, is it industrial AI? But we have some very smart people to ask that very question. We do. All right.